What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie2988 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. And I used to do a series that I called Storytime with Boogie, but I ran out of stories to tell. But there's one that I got reminded when I was streaming on Twitch tonight that I wanted to tell you guys about. It's kind of an embarrassing story, and it's kind of gross, so know ahead of time that this is kind of a gross story. And some people are going to say it glorifies my obesity, but I wasn't even that big when the story took place. I was still big. I would never do this again, and I do not recommend you do it. But one time, I ate a 72-ounce steak at a restaurant in Texas called the Big Texan. If you want to look it up, you can go to their website, and you'll see that I'm listed on the list of people that completed, I believe, in 1996. So some of you probably were not even born. But me and my friend Matt had gone to the very first Magic the Gathering Regionals event ever. We traveled all the way to Lubbock, Texas, to go to a store called Mad Hatter's. I don't even know that if he's still doing that, but if he is, hi, Mad Hatter. We played there. We had a lot of fun, and on our way back, we kept seeing the signs. Free 72-ounce steak. Free 72-ounce steak. I'm like, I don't think I could do that. My friend Matt is absolutely convinced. So convinced, in fact, that he is willing to put up the $50 you have to put up in order for them to allow you to attempt it. And so he's like, man, I know you can do it. I believe you can do it. I want you to do it. Please do it. Please do it. Please do it. Please do it. Fine, Matt. Sure. So we drive into the Big Texan parking lot. It's even out of our way. We're not even going through there. But we drive out of our way to go to the Big Texan, and we saunter in. It's the middle of the day. Nobody's there. There's like two other people eating. And I tell her, I want to try it. I want to do this. Let's do this. They make you sit on a stage. I don't know what it's like now, but 20 years ago, they made you sit on a stage in order to do this thing. And the entire place would stare at you normally, but fortunately it's fairly empty. And they watch you like a hawk to make sure you don't cheat in any way, and they bring out this 72-ounce steak. Now here's one of the reasons I don't recommend it. Number one, the steak is not very good. At least it wasn't then. I think it was like a flank steak or whatever. So, I mean, it was tough, and it was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Not worth $50 for certainly, and I think it's probably more expensive now. So I would not recommend it for that purpose by any stretch of the imagination. The second thing that I did not realize until I got there was it's not just a 72-ounce steak, which I think reasonably is fairly possible to eat. But they also include a buttered roll. They also include a salad. They include like a shrimp cocktail. They like a soda. Like you have to eat all this extra side stuff too. And then also the 72-ounce steak, which I do not, again, I do not recommend this. No, ever. And you'll understand why in a second. So I cut into it, and I'm going through, and it like gets cold halfway through, and you have to eat it in under 1 hour, and you have to eat it in one setting, or else you forfeit the $50. You see? So, I mean, either way, they've got your money at this point. Whether you succeed or fail, they don't really care. Okay? But I'm chomping away. I'm going at it. I'm doing my best. It gets cold at one point. They have to take it back there and reheat it on the grill. And I'm trying to work through all the other food. And I eventually hit what I believe they call in these programs about overeating, they call the food wall, right? And so I just I can't put more food into my body. Like literally, I can feel my stomach is entirely full. And I'm sick to my stomach and I'm dying. And I can feel that there's no room left. And I don't want to do it. And my brain is saying, this is stupid, we're going to die, stop. Which is not an impulse I get from my brain very often when it comes to food, but this time I certainly did. And I've got like 15 minutes left, and I'm looking at Matt who's sitting down there, and Matt is doing nothing but watching me eat, by the way. It's very important you know that. Matt's doing nothing but watching me eat. I look at Matt, I'm like, Matt, I don't think I can do this, man. I'm going to die. And Matt walks up to the stage, and he leans over and he goes, Boogie, I don't know how to tell you this, but I've got my dad's gas card, and I could use it to get us home, and we'll make it home either way. But that was my last $50. I spent everything else at the Magic event. We're both broke, and if you don't succeed, I'm not going to have any money to order my dinner with, and I'm just going to end up going hungry for the rest of the day. So I really hope you can do it. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! So I start shaking, trying to make room. I'm trying to do everything I can to make room in my stomach to try to make it happen. And I'm like taking bites, and each bite I can feel my esophagus is filling up, like I can feel it in my esophagus. I'm miserable. I've never been so miserable in my life. Anything else I've ever gone through was not as just disgustingly awful as that. When this was over, by the way, I did not eat beef for a year. I didn't eat meat. I ate chicken or nothing. That was it for the next year of my life. So I get it all down, and they come and they inspect my plate, and they're like, all right, you did it. That's close enough. Good job. Here's your $50 back. And Matt orders dinner. And while Matt is eating dinner, I go to the bathroom, and I try to throw up. Now, here's an interesting thing about me. I can't throw up. I can't make myself throw up. I've only thrown up like 3 times in my lifetime. Clearly, most of the food I've eaten has stayed down. I think that's pretty obvious. So I did everything humanly possible to make it happen. I just couldn't do it. And eventually Matt finishes dinner and we start going home to Fayetteville, Arkansas. And it's a good drive. And as soon as we get into the car and the car speeds up and you kind of lean against, you hit the seat, a little bit because of, inertia. My stomach goes, oh, and I can't throw up, by the way. So there's nothing I can do about it. And then he turns to get on the road. It's like, oh, and the car turns and says, oh, and then he brakes, oh. It's the most miserable experience. I cannot possibly describe it. So we finally get to Fort Smith. And Fort Smith right now we have a really nice highway that goes from Fort Smith to Fayetteville. All right? And it's super easy to drive there. Back then, they had only one road called the Razorback Trail, or I think the Pig Trail is what they called it. And it was this super crazy, windy road up the side of a mountain that you would never want to drive in a million years. And you certainly don't want to drive it when you're super nauseous from eating a ridiculous amount of foods. So Matt comes up with the idea, why don't we stay at my parents' house tonight? Since neither of us work tomorrow. Why don't we stay at my parents' house tonight? And, you can work it off, and then we'll go up the Pig Trail tomorrow, okay? I'm like, great. So we get there, and all I want to do is go to bed. All I want to do is just for this to be over. I just want the day to be done. And I end up sleeping in his little brother's room. And I can't even get comfortable to lay down. I'm laying on my side, and that hurts, and I lay on my stomach. I'm, no! And I lay on my back when I'm so fat, and this big ball of beet is crushing my organs. It's the most god-awful experience. But somehow, eventually, I fall asleep. And when I wake up to a knock on the door. And it's my friend Phil and his brother. And my eyes open up, and I'm laying on my stomach for some reason. I've always kind of slept like that. I don't know why. How do you sleep? I want to know in the comment section below. I sleep on my stomach. Especially if you're a big person. I'd love to know how you sleep. I tend to sleep on my stomach. And so I wake up like this. And the first thing that I notice is the smell. And it is the most disgusting thing I've ever smelled in my life. It smelled like someone had taken a shit on a burning tire. It was... and then my brain immediately realized that smell came from me. And so I said, don't come in. But what Phil's brother heard was come in. So he opens the door, and the smell hits him immediately. And he actually launches back across the hallway, hitting the wall on the other side. If I remember correctly, I think he dented the wall. He goes, God damn, Boogie, did you fucking die in there? And I think what I said was, I said, maybe. Now I know what you're thinking, I shit the bed. I did not shit the bed, fortunately. The reason for that is self-explanatory. I started to move to try to go to the restroom. Unfortunately, Matt's little brother, his room was connected to a bathroom that he could use. So I started to get out of bed, and as I rolled over, a fart came out of me that smelled like death from under cheese. Like death smegma. I think that's probably the best. It smelled like death had rotted to death and then rotted some more. It was terrible. And it went like this. It just went like this. This is going to seem really embarrassing, but it was exactly like this. For about 27 minutes. roughly. Like, just, yeah. And I was still just as nauseous. And I went and sat down on the toilet, and here's where it gets really gross, by the way. I went and sat down on the toilet, and I discovered why I didn't shit the bed, because I probably should have. But it was because there was a brick inside of my backside. And the term shitting a brick, that day I learned what that meant. Because it did not want to happen, but it made it happen. And I don't think that's appropriate for YouTube. I don't think we'll talk about that. But it was the worst experience of my life. But anyway, if you go to the Big Texan, you can see proof that I am stupid. That will live well past me. So, enjoy. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. And I'll speak with you soon. This is not an endorsement video. In fact, if anything, this is a video warning you not to fucking do it. Don't. Bye.